walking without stretchers?
With crutches, inside, yes, but outside to use it. We'll get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Aradhayo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. Ramya Kachitupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Va Kalpita. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam pramanam prema pumartho mahan. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu matamidam tatradharana para. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading the Govardhan Lila, the beautiful pastimes of the Lord, lifting Giridhari, lifting Giriraj Govardhan, and his name is Giridhari. And there are multiple verses to glorify Govardhan. Our acharyas have given the Govardhan Ashtakam, the Govardhan Vasadashakam, etc. And also there are some single verses also which glorify Giriraj Govardhan. Some of you may be knowing some of them. Namaste Girirajaya Govardhan Tinamine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dahine Govardhanadharam Vande Gopala Goparupinam Gokula Utsavameshanam Govindam Gopika Priyam. Another verse from Garga Samhita. Namo Vrindavana Kaya Tubhyam Goloka Molini Purna Brahma Tapatraya Namo Govardhanaya Cha. Another beautiful verse. There are many. I'm going to kind of put all this in one document so it's easy for all of us to refer. Another beautiful verse here in Canto 10, chapter 21, text 18. Hantaya madriya bala haridasa varyo yadrama Kṛṣṇa charana sparsha pramoda manam tanoti sahago ganayostayorya paniya suvasa kandara kandamulai. I recall we discussed this in great detail. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Kṛṣṇa and Balaram along with their cows and cowherd friends with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, Govardhan hill appears very jubilant, very jubilant. So there are many verses. It's always good to at least memorize one of them, if not more. So we can offer prayers, during Govardhan Puja, when we see Govardhan, or even every day. I mean, especially on those occasions, but even there is no harm in offering prayers daily. So we have covered chapter 24, entitled Worshipping Govardhan Hill, where primarily Krishna convinced or inspired the Vrajavasis not to worship Indra, but to offer all those ingredients, all the pujas, all the sacrifice, all the bhoga to Giri Govardhan. And everything went on very well. Everyone agreed. They offered nice preparations. Everyone was happy. The festive atmosphere. They did circumambulation, fed brahmanas, fed cows, fed everyone. And then finally, after all of that is done, they came back to their respective Raja. And one person was not happy, and that was Indra. So that we're going to see in this chapter, chapter 25, titled Lord Krishna Lifts Govardhan Hill. So let's begin with the summary, if anyone would like to read the summary.
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dana Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada, chapter 25, Lord Krishna leaves Govardhan Hill. This chapter describes how Lord Indra was overcome by anger when the residents of Braja cancelled his sacrifice, how he tried to punish them by sending forth a devastating rainfall to Vrindavan, and how Lord Sri Krishna protected Gokul by lifting Govardhan Hill, and for 7 days using it as an umbrella to ward off the rain. Indra, angered at the disruption of the sacrifice meant for him, and falsely presuming himself the supreme controller, said, "People often give up the pursuit of transcendental knowledge, the means for self-realization, and imagine that they can cross over the ocean of material existence by mundane fruitive sacrifices. Similarly, these cowherd men have become intoxicated by pride and have offended me by taking shelter of an ignorant, ordinary child Krishna. To remove this supposed pride of the residents of Braja, Indra sent the clouds known as Shambhartaka, whose function is to facilitate the destruction of the world. He sent them to harass the Brajavasis with downpours of rain and hail. The cowherd community was very disturbed by this and approached Krishna for shelter. Understanding that this trouble was the work of Indra, Krishna decided to smash to pieces Indra's false prestige, and thus he lifted Govardhan Hill with one hand. He then invited the entire cowherd community to take shelter in the dry space beneath the mountain. For 7 successive days, he held up the hill until Indra finally understood Krishna's mystic power and ordered the clouds to withdraw. When the cowherd villagers emerged from beneath the mountain, Krishna put Govardhan Hill back in its proper place. The cowherds were in ecstasy, showing loving symptoms such as flowing tears and bodily hairs standing on end. They embraced Krishna and offered him benedictions according to their respective positions, while the demigods in heaven rained down flowers and sang the Lord's praises. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this nice summary. Of course, we're going to see all this in more detail, so I guess we can start with the verses. Anyone wants to read the first verse? Okay, I can start this one. Shri Shuka Uvacha Indrastadatmana Pujam Vigyaya Vihatam Nripa Gopebhya Krishnanathebhyo Nandadibhyas Chukopaha. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Abhicharan Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, when Indra understood that his sacrifice had been put aside, he became furious with Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men. who were accepting Kṛṣṇa as their Lord. Purport. At the very beginning of this chapter, Shukadeva Goswami reveals the foolishness of Indra and the absurdity of his anger. Indra was frustrated because the residents of Vrindavan accepted Sri Kṛṣṇa as their Lord. But the simple fact is that Sri Kṛṣṇa is the Lord, not only of the residents of Vrindavan, but of all that exist, including Indra himself. Thus, Indra's petulant reaction was ridiculous. As the common saying goes, pride goes before a fall. Pride goes before a fall. Hare Krishna. So, in this verse, Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning how Indra, when Indra realized, Vigyaya, understanding that they had diverted the puja, pujan, vihitam nripa. They were thinking, these Gopa, Kṛṣṇa Nathebhyo, Nath means master, right? Jagannath, Lakshminath, Gopinath, etc. They're thinking all these Gopas, they're thinking Kṛṣṇa as their master, their Lord. Nand Adibhyas Chukopaha Kopa. You recall in the olden days, they were like Kopa Bhavan. Kopa Bhavan, or called in English Sulking Chamber. Sulking Chamber. When they were like, the famous example is, Kekai went there. And Dashrath Maharaj came, and then she asked for those 2 bones, right? So she went, she was angry. So in short, Kopa means Krodha, Kopa is anger. So when Indra got to know that they have diverted this puja, not offering puja to me, but to this Kṛṣṇa, this ordinary boy, this young 7-year-old child, and these Nanda and all are supposed to be very, like they are like he's the king. He's the king of the community. The king is acting like this. Very, very angry, very angry. Someone asked Prabhupada, oh, what do you think? Kṛṣṇa is your God? Prabhupada said, Kṛṣṇa is your God too. I'm reminded of this situation here. Like as mentioned in the purport. It's not that Kṛṣṇa is the God for Nanda and Raja. Kṛṣṇa is God for Indra as well. But when we forget that, Kṛṣṇa bhuli sei jeev anadir bahir mukh, ater maya tare de samsara dukh. When we forget Kṛṣṇa, we try to become God. And that's what happened to Indra. Indra forgot Kṛṣṇa is God, and he thought, oh, I am God. I am running the show. They're supposed to worship me. And he forgot who's the real God. Who's the real Nath. He's thinking, I am the Nath. I am the one who provides them rain. I am the one. Without me, they cannot flourish. Without me, they cannot grow their crops or sustain their cows and whatnot. So we forget. Sometimes this pride may come to anyone, because of wealth, because of, Kunti Maharani says 4 things. What are the 4 things? Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribhir. These are the 4 main things, but it could be of anything, right? Could be high learning. Oh, I am a PhD. Oh, I am a great scientist, right? Or even spiritual learning. One could be, oh, I know more verses than you. Oh, I know more this than you. Or wealth, right? Wealth is, very, very, if not used properly, my wealth can certainly lead to pride. We see wealth, people become mad after wealth. Then beauty, right? One could be proud of one's body or their physical appearance. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribhi. Learning and high birth. I belong to a high society. I belong to Brahmana society. Oh, my parents were this, so many, this class, that class. You are low class. I am high class. All this can also lead to pride. There's a beautiful verse in the Niti Shastra. Nevam pashyati janmandha kamandha eva na pashyati arthi dosham na pashyati madonmatta na pashyati. Again, 4 kinds of blind people or 4 kinds of obstacles in the path. Something very, very similar. Janm se andha. One could be blind by birth. That's fine. Due to karma, past activities. But one could be blind by pride. Madon matta na pashyati. Indra here, classic example. Got blinded by pride, forgot to see who is who, forgot to identify his true position. Is it not? When we are bound or blind by pride, we cannot see things as is. Same, some people could be so hankering for money. They may not see the sins involved in that. Oh, let me open a casino. I will make more money. Let me open a bar. I'll get more money, right? There may be more money, but there is a lot more sins also involved there, right? So one should be very careful. One could be blinded by anger, right? When anger comes, one loses one's sense of right and wrong. Is it not? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti, vibrama buddhi ka nash. Buddhi ka nash ho jata hai. And we lose the sense of right or wrong. So there are different ways one could become blind. Blind by pride, blind by anger, blind by money, blind by different things. So in short, we should be very careful. Blind by wealth, blind by one's own self-obsession, right? That there's someone is so self-obsessed in their own life, they don't have time or energy to empathize others, right? They always want to keep themselves as the center. They cannot see anyone else. Somehow or the other, they want to bring themselves in the center. So self-obsession. Cannot see good in others. So, and if we see from a bigger perspective, this situation, Vrindavan, a tiny portion of land, correct, Raja, out of Krishna's creation. This is the problem with pride or with blindness, right? When we become blind. So many different regions, different, thousands of the other people must be offering obeisance to Indra, must be offering bhoga to Indra, must be doing Indra puja in this particular section of land, correct? They decided not to do, right? Even still till date, many people must be offering, obeisance and prayers and offerings to Indra and other demigods based on their beliefs, customs, and whatnot. But this is like 99 people are doing something. One person stops. Hey, why did they stop? Isn't that? If you look from a bigger perspective, how come these people stop? Then forgetting the 99 other villages are doing. 99 other, or 99 is just a small number. Maybe 9 million other villages were doing, right? But that's a problem. And it's in our life too. If 99 people say good things about us, that, oh, Prabhuji, you are very kind. Oh, you speak nicely. Oh, you are this, 99 good things. And one person say, you are a number one fool. What dare you think of yourself? Okay. Guess what? When we come back, what will we remember? When we come back home, what will we remember? Something to ponder about. Is it not? So back to the verse, and Shukdev Goswami mentions that how Indra got to know of this situation, and pride comes before the fall. And so this is actually not, Indra is a very high class devotee. Sometimes we may think, oh, Indra was proud, Indra was this, Indra was, is when Radhanath Swami Maharaj was mentioning in the recent one of the classes, that when Indra does yajna, Lord Vishnu comes personally to accept offerings. How many of us do yajna? Yajna means anything we offer to Kṛṣṇa, and Lord Vishnu descends personally to offer, to accept the offerings. So we should never think, oh, Indra is a fool. Oh, Indra is basically the Indra mentality in my heart. Who thinks I am great? Who thinks I am the boss? Who thinks I am the Lord and the Master? Who thinks I am God? How come these people, they should be worshipping me? I'm the best. I'm the greatest. This is the Indra mentality, or the pride mentality, or the false ego mentality. And Kṛṣṇa, one does not like that in devotees, especially. And that's why he is lifting the Govardhan to lifting the mountain, to kill the mountain, to pulverize that mountain of ego in our hearts. That is main Govardhan Lila. Yes, there is a lot of food, parikrama, nice dress, nice clothes, nice, flags and festoons, but the main lesson for a sadhaka is to pulverize the mountain of false ego in our hearts. Which is very, very deep rooted. Very, very deep rooted. Any comments, thoughts in this connection before we move on to the next verse?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. So the one you mentioned, if everybody praises and one, that is, that sometimes, we just focus on that one and they're not. I was remembering. So when Daksha also came and everybody, got up, paying obeisances, but Lord Shiva was in meditation and that time he got excluded. So I was pondering about this point, but thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful example. Yeah, there were like thousands of people in that assembly. Everyone got up. Hey, why did this one did not get up? That's a very good example. Thank you. Right. Okay, let's read the next verse, text 2. Anyone wants to read who didn't get chance yesterday? I see quite a few devotees joined today. Thank you for your kind association. Yes, Nikant, Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 2. Gananam Samvratakam Nama Meghanam Chantakarinam Indra Prachodayad Krodho Vakyam Chayesha Manya Uttam. Translation and purport by Śrīla Prabhupada, devotees ki Jai. Angry Indra sent forth the clouds of universal destruction known as Samvartaka. Imagining himself the supreme controller, he spoke as follows. The purport, the word Isha Mani here is very significant. Indra arrogantly considered himself to be the Lord, and thus he exhibited the typical attitude of a conditioned soul. Many thinkers in the 20th century have noted the exaggerated sense of individual prestige characteristics of our culture. Indeed, writers have even coined the phrase the me generation. Everyone in this world is more or less guilty of the syndrome called Ishamana, a proudly considering oneself the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji. It's kind of following the way you explained, Prabhuji. It's more like, it's me who is bigger than anybody. It's like a lot of, even it comes to me, during at one point of my journey, I felt like, yeah, I should be, I'm the one and people should follow me, kind of a thing, rather than I'm just following the Lord's decisions or the following the Lord's orders. So it's not, I don't think that is a I feel it is not really a bigger problem, but without knowing who we are and continuing the same way that we think will be a bigger problem, and it will be creating a self-destruction for us. It's kind of real, and that's what I realized after reading that purport, Prabhuji. Please add more. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This mentality of I, me, and mine is very, 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 very deep rooted in my consciousness. Because from millions of lifetimes, that's what we have been doing. Selfishness. I, me, and mine, right? I, me, and my consciousness. Kṛṣṇa was missing out of the picture. And that's why we are in this material world. Because of the selfish choice to enjoy separate from Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord and Supreme Master, Supreme Controller. But if we try to become Supreme Lord, Supreme Controller, then we are sent here. Oh, you want to be the Supreme Enjoyer? Okay. Like the child says, hey, I want to drive the car. The dad says, no, you can't drive the car. You are just a 5-year-old. How will you drive the car? But the child is very persistent. And the father say, okay, then go to the amusement park, drive that toy car, right? And then the child gets frustrated there. And if the child is fortunate, the jiva is fortunate, then they may get the mercy of Guru and Kṛṣṇa and come back to true senses. So this is exactly what's happening. And this is also beautifully mentioned in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita also. Maybe we can read that verse, 16th chapter, text 13, 14, 15. It's basically divine and demoniac qualities or consciousness. Let's read. Anyone wants to read this 3 verses together in the translation? Lakshya, you raised your hand. You want to read?
Yes, Vaji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Idam adyamaya labdam imam prapsye manoratam idam astidam apime bhavisyati punardanam asaumaya hata shatur hanisye chaparan api ishvaroham aham bogi siddhoham balavan shuki adyo vidjanavan asmi konyo asti sadrisho maya yakshye dasyami modishye iti ajnana vimodhita. Translation: the demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Very well, thank you. So you see in this verse so many times, I am the Lord, I am the master, I am the enjoyer, I am doing this, even charity. Oh, these people, these beggars are sustaining because of me. If I don't give charity to these homeless people, they'll die of hunger. Again, just even in a so-called mode of goodness act, they are doing out of I, me, and mine. Right? That charity is not great. But here, I am the Lord, Ishwaroham, Aham Bhogi, this very nicely mentioned in this verse. And that's exactly is being mentioned here. Isha Mani, Isha means Ishwara, Mani. What do the people consider with ego? I am the Isha. Ishwaroham Aham Bhogi, I am the enjoyer. And if someone tries to become an obstacle, then we become enemies with that person. So here, Indra developed a lot of krodha, falsely thinking I am the enjoyer. That's or I'm the supreme controller, Ishaman. That is the mentality we have to, instead of Ishamani, we have to become Dasa. Understand our position that I am. This is called false ego or false identity. What is true identity? I am the servant. Gopir Bhartur Pad Kamalayor Das Das Dasanudas. Understanding our true position. That okay, if my master wants this to happen, so it's fine. Ultimately, he's the Supreme Lord. If he is doing something, it must be for my good. And it must be for everyone's good. Not a big deal. Right? Look at this another way. Did Kṛṣṇa cause any intentional and deliberate harm to Indra? Like he took his Indrasan directly, or he just told, start attacking Indra, right? There was no intentional deliberate harm. Right? They just stopped the puja, but again, Indra felt that as the risk to his position, risk to his false ego. So again, we should also, try to introspect this in our lives. What happens to me when someone does not respect me? How do I handle it? Or we may get respect sometimes, and the other, or sometimes we may not get respect. How do we take it that time? Right? Does our anger flare up? Oh, that person did not respect me, right? Or I did so much seva, I was not respected, or things like that. So that's a question I should think, because scriptures are supposed to be lived by, right? We read, understand, and live by. How do I react when I'm not respected? Or Something like that, some situation like that. Another example which comes, Vaishnavas are humble. Vaishnavas are epitome of humility. Trinadapi sunijena, taroriva saishnuna, amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. Sharing a lesson about humility, an example, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We all know he was such a great in every field, materially, spiritually, educational, every aspect he was perfect. His effectiveness, his efficiency in his court duties in the British Raj, that the government built a railway line from his office, from his home to the office, so that he can come faster. He doesn't have to waste time, because he wanted to retire and he didn't want to work. But the government said, well, it takes you 5 minutes. People take 5 days to solve that case. So we'll do anything for you. So that railway line was built for him. The tracks are still there. If you go to Mayapur, Surbikunj, you can go and see that, those tracks even today, right outside his house. As time flew by, other people were also taking advantage, the neighborhood of this train, right? Because in India, so many people. And then initially they knew it was started for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but later, time flies and people kind of forgot for what was the root cause of the starting of this train, or who was the root cause. And one fine day, there was no seat for him to sit. There was no seat for him to sit in the train. And guess what? He just sat on the floor. I was just thinking, that's such a epitome of humility. The whole train is basically, has been started for him. But he did not say that to anyone. Oh, do you know, like, why this train is running? All of you, 100, 500 people are taking advantage of this, but the government started it for me. I am the root cause. I am the cause for which you are taking advantage. No. So epitome of humility. So Vaishnavas are free from this I, me, and mine mentality. And this is what we should aspire for. This is what we should strengthen. How to be free from I, me, and mine. And always remember Kṛṣṇa and never forget Kṛṣṇa. And even if Kṛṣṇa has given us something, we always remember that, yes, he has given us something, he can take it any moment. The moment I think it belongs to me, he'll understand, oh, this person is developing, he'll take it away. He is developing a false consciousness, then he'll take it. Oh, he's not a right recipient to use this properly. He'll take it. He's Hari. When he wants to give, he can give with million hands. When he wants to take away, he can take with million hands too. So we should always, be mindful of this Govardhan Lila, so that we do not develop this Ishamani. Das, anudas. Any more thoughts, comments, additions here in this verse?
So, Harjan Prabhuji, so the word self-esteem is also equivalent to pride to a devotee.
Self-esteem and pride is, are you saying that they are same or?
So self-esteem usually used to use in a better way, that like sometimes people humiliates or put down. So to have a self-esteem so that people cannot do that level. So having some to nicely explain, you can do that. But pride is very bad. So as Mahaprabhu said that Amana Mandana, that is also good, but I just want to understand that what is the fine line between self-esteem and pride?
Hare Krishna, it's a thoughtful question. I recall someone asked this question to Lila Prabhu. I don't recall the exact answer. And there is a fine line, and that is very fine line. But in most cases, Prabhuji was mentioning this, in most cases, it's kind of same. Oh, he hurt my ego. That looks bad. Oh, how dare he, or sometimes people use, self-respect, self-esteem also interchangeably, but no one uses self-ego. Then that may look bad, right? But like no one in the world says, oh, I lust you, but 99.9% is lust, right? We all know that, right? The boy will say to the girl, oh, I love you, but that's lust, right? But no one says, oh, I lust you. So you see, so here also 99% it's ego only. It's an ego problem. Oh, he hurt my self-respect or my self-esteem. Actually, it's a self-ego only, right? So we are not saying that, and in Vaishnava society, especially in the circle of devotees, we should be, like completely. If someone says you're a fool, okay, we don't have to fight. Sorry, I'm a fool. You are great. I'll try to, I'll hopefully improve. And, but outside, if at work, let's say someone says, hey, you're a fool, you don't know anything, how to do this, then maybe, in order to kind of make sure that people don't take for a ride, or if there is a genuine mistake, I'll accept it. But I will, try to clarify, because if everyone, starts, then I will not even have a job, right? Because that word may go to my manager and to his manager that this person doesn't know anything, this person doesn't, so we have to see in the context. But in most situations, especially in the Vaishnava situations, that it's basically being referred to self-ego. But in a polished way, this may say self-respect, self-esteem, this, that. So in Vaishnava society, we should be completely humble. And outside also, humility will always win. Humility will always win, right? Winning the argument by logic, by words might be possible. We'll lose the heart of the person. But humility, we may lose the argument, especially in a relationship, husband, wife, mother, father, son, child, daughter, sister. We may lose the argument, but we'll win the bigger, right? Kind of relationship. That's more important. What's the use of winning the argument and spoiling the relationship, right? So that's why, Mahaprabhu gave this classic example again from the Bhagavatam. Indra, again, in that story, Indra and Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj did 99 yagyas. Indra causing trouble, trying to stop, trying to steal the horse multiple times. What to do? Finally, Brahmaji said, Prithu, don't do this 100 sacrifice. And Prithu Maharaj agreed. Now, to agree at that point, now may say, don't you have a self-esteem? Like, what did you do wrong? You did nothing wrong. You are minding your own business. you are doing yajna with your ingredients, your paraphernalia, your everything. Indra should mind his own business and let you mind your own business. And why is he causing a havoc? Have some self-esteem. I mean, right? No. In spiritual life, completely he said and in that way he did the real yajna. Excuse me. In that way he did the real yajna of giving up his false ego. That was the 100th and the biggest yajna he did, to sacrifice one's false ego and do exactly what Guru, in this case Brahmaji is Guru, Adi Guru. Brahmaji is the Parampara Acharya. He's no ordinary person. That Indra won't listen. You are malleable. You are going to understand. If I tell this to Indra, he won't listen. So these are the examples in front of us. So yes, in the outside world, we have to take it in the mature way. But in the Vaishnava circle, completely, humility is the answer. Outside also humility, but in a mature way. We may have to justify, we may have to clarify. But I have seen in the Vaishnava circles, even my own, spiritual master, someone blasphemed him, blamed him like anything. You are this, you are that, like non-stop. He said, I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing. I will try to improve. Thank you. That's it. And all those were false allegations. They were not correct. But he did not try to explain. He did not try to prove that he is right and that person. And that, then that, wins the heart. And this was happening in front of all of his disciples too, by the way. Very, very, these are just some of the many stories from the lives of many examples. So does that help? I don't know. To your question.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments, thoughts, additions, corrections? Okay, so we have time to read another verse. Let's go to the next one, text 3. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna devotees and Aho Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Gopinam Kananu Kasam Krishnam Nityaṁ Upasritya Echakshadeva Enanam. Translation purport by the disciples of his divine grace, Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Indra said, just see how these cowherd men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. They have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Kṛṣṇa, and thus they have offended the gods. Purport. Of course, Indra was clearly saying that the cowherd men had offended him. Indra, by taking shelter of Kṛṣṇa, offended him, Indra. By taking shelter of Kṛṣṇa, whom Indra considered to be Martya, immortal, this was certainly a gross miscalculation on Indra's part. Hare Krishna. Wonderful, as you mentioned, when they have egoistic mentality, they do not see who is. They always think themselves as great. And as you just mentioned, how the great the disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, how humble, humility, they are. So you can see that even though Kṛṣṇa, is of course he's the cause of all causes. Because of his intoxication, he was not able to identify the Supreme Lord. So, like a man with some kind of disease, he can only see, like if he wears a green glasses, he sees everything green. So the same way, because of his egoness, he was not able to identify Lord Kṛṣṇa. It's my mistake. Please help.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice example you quoted. That we see the world is a mirror of our own consciousness. You know this story? I read it way back. That the world is a mirror of our own consciousness. So one time there was a dog and he had an issue with his wife. The wife told him, some heavy words. So he was very depressed, angry. And there was this mirror house. You've seen this mirror house, different types of mirrors, convex, concave, and whatnot, mirrors between the mirrors. So he went to this mirror house and he had a bad mood and started barking. And as he was barking, like 10 other dogs because they were his own reflection, but they were barking in different directions. And he started barking louder, right? And those dogs are barking even louder. He's showing them the growling face with his ferocious teeth. And then the other dogs are showing him the growling face and the ferocious teeth. And he left that place. I'll never come to this place. This place is just a mess. This place is full of bad people, right? Another dog who had a very good mood entered this place. He was wiggling his tail and very happy, smiling. So all other dogs are happy and smiling. So in short, this world is a mirror of our own consciousness. A person entered a village and he asked, what kind of people live here? He said, the same kind of people who are in your village. Beautiful reply, right? Because if one is seeing good in others, he'll always find good and he'll find good people, good company. But if one is that fault-finding attitude, one will find faults everywhere. In short, again, proves that the world is a reflection of our own consciousness. In this case, Indra is intoxicated by the intoxication of pride, very similar to how Nalkuver and Manigriva were also intoxicated, right? They also felt, oh, we are the sons of Kuvera. They disrespected Narad Muni, did not bother to show proper respect. In this case, rather than, Indra took this offense very seriously. Then now he's thinking, rather than, he has offended Kṛṣṇa, but he's thinking, oh, these people have offended me. See, that's again consciousness, mirror, right? One who is proud will think, oh, this person has offended me, right? But on the contrary, he may have offended that person. As we see in this case, Indra has offended them, but he's thinking, oh, they have offended Indra. Why? Because of intoxication, because of pride. Because when we point one finger to the other, we're pointing three to ourselves. But if one cannot see that, one will not see those Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I see faults in others because I am honeycombed with faults. Right? So in short, one should always see fault in one's own self. And work on that. But in this case, Indra is seeing, because of the intoxication, a fault is there. I am fine, I am perfect, I am great, I am this, I am that, all the fault. So no self-reflection going on here, but self-ego, right? You remember we just discussed, when we reflect truly, honestly, then we will understand the mistake. But if we say, if we have this blind, like, no, I am right. Don't, if anything is against that idea, or if anyone even tries to convince me against that idea, that person is wrong. That is demoniac. Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, right? Ravana. So many people gave him good counsel. No. His blinders were on. No, I am right. What I am thinking is right. Don't tell me anything else. I know what to do. This is Ravana. This is also Indra also. People are, he had blinders, right? So we see this, in real situations too. People don't want to take good counsel many times because the blinders are on. The blinders of wealth, the blinders of ego, the blinders of different intoxication, the blinders of I, me, and mine, the blinders of I am great. So we are basically creating a wall to let the good advice, the good counsel, the good energy for our purification. Until that wall is removed of ego, good counsel, and how will it be removed? When we take a humble position, then only, because good things, water or advice or everything flows from high to low. It doesn't flow like this way, right? Will Ravana take advice from his ordinary soldier? No, how dare. I am Ravana, I am the great, I know what to do. But Lord Ram did, right? From each and every person. So, because of humility. So, beautiful lessons again here, beautiful. Intoxication. Oh, they are intoxicated by that. They think they are very, I will teach them a lesson. They have offended the gods, that means me. And another big offense he is doing here is thinking Kṛṣṇa as ordinary human being. Avajananti mam moda manushim tanumashritam. Right? Martyam. He's calling Martyam. That's an ordinary soul dies, or like the body dies for the ordinary person. It's like it is an ordinary person. And they're taking his shelter, upashritya. They have committed big offense. They have committed offense against me, but he had committed offense. So that's another, we discuss that. So this could happen in devotee relationship also. This could happen in husband-wife relationship also. Or in any relationship, brother, sister. But what can we do? I can do what's in my control. Can I do something to make other person realize? No. I should always think on how, making sure I am not blaming others and I am taking full responsibility. Right? समझदार मनुष्य और फलदार वृक्ष झुक जाते. Age-old saying. A person laden with knowledge and a tree laden with fruits will bow down. Right? Those who don't bow down, when the waves, the thunders, the waves of time will come, guess what? They'll be the first to washed away. Those who don't bow down. So beautiful lessons here about pride, humility, gratitude, intoxication, aparadh, offenses, etc. Any thoughts, comments before we wrap up for today? Okay, so I guess we will pause here and continue with the next verse tomorrow. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Pattanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody?